dominated the offense. There was only 2 touchdowns in that first scrimmage, one of which was Bear Bachmeier connecting with Cody Hagan, but it was a day that the defense won. Scrimmage 2, more back and forth. And I think that's a positive as BYU heads in to week 4, and they're nearing the finish line of camp and getting ready for the Portland State Vikings, which is only 12 days away until BYU kicks it off against the Vikings. But all eyes, of course, on Bear Bachmeier, who's trending towards being that QB. And I will say, Bear Bachmeier in camp has looked good. Has he been flawless? Has he been perfect? By no stretch has he been perfect. I think sometimes the social media narratives out there get a little bit twisted where it hasn't been complete roses throughout. It hasn't just been, oh my gosh, we're looking at the number 1 overall future NFL draft pick. Bear Bachmeier still got to develop. He's still got to improve. He was a 4-star recruit in the 24/7 Sports composite ratings, but in 24/7 Sports' own rankings, they had him as a 3-star. He's a developmental guy. He's got to be turned into a heralded NFL draft prospect potentially. But the potential, the talent is undeniable. And I think he's pretty mature too. And his interaction with players, with teammates, it seems like it's been pretty good. You see him walking out of the stadium with LJ Martin. He's forming that relationship with the top dogs on the team. And he's got to have a great relationship with LJ because LJ is going to, probably carry this team early on. But I think one of the pros to potentially starting Bear Bachmeier, he could lead BYU to great heights. And when I say great heights, maybe that's the Big 12 championship game. This BYU team around the quarterback is in a great place. There is a lot to like with this football team. You've just got to get it right at the quarterback position because this conference has told us if you want to win this league, you need to have one of the best quarterbacks, not only in the conference, but in the country. Last year was Sam Levitt. Rocco Becht was one of the best quarterbacks. He was in the game. 2023, it was Quinn Ewers at Texas. 2022, Will Howard, Max Duggan. Recent history shows you've got to have some of the best quarterbacks in the sport to get to the Big 12 title. And that's where it maybe adjust your expectations for what BYU can be this year. But if Bear Bachmeier catches fire early, and I think this schedule gives that opportunity, maybe they can break through and reach Arlington because the defense is going to be special. I think one of the cons, though, to starting Bear Bachmeier, and this was always kind of my a little bit concern, one, because we've seen some up and down play in fall camp. There's been a lot of good highlights. That pass to Carson Ryan last week got so much run. It was great. There's also been moments, though, where he has thrown picks. That Cougar Club practice. He threw an interception to Falatau Satawala in the 7-on-7 work. Early on in camp, he threw an interception in the red zone. There was a red zone drive after that completion to Carson Ryan. The drive stalled. It hasn't always been perfect. And what I'm saying is that with a true freshman quarterback, you've got to expect that. Where there's going to be a game on this schedule where on paper it would say BYU should take care of business handily. But maybe there are more struggles than we think. And that's where it's critical for BYU to have LJ Martin healthy throughout the year. Because with him, I think that can alleviate some of the issues. But Bear Bachmeier has a lot of ability. And if you do go with him, you've got to go all in. You got to ride or die with Bear because you don't want to play with the mental psyche of a true freshman quarterback. That's where, on a timeline basis, it was easier to say, hey, go with McKay Hillstead to start out and let it be known to McKay, hey, you haven't been perfect in camp, but we're giving you this job because you're a veteran. You've got the experience in the program. We're going to give you the nod. But if you struggle against the Portland State, against the Stanford, just know we're moving on. Whereas with Bear, do you do that with a true freshman? I don't think you do. Because I think no matter who the quarterback is against Portland State or Stanford, they're going to thrive. And then when you have success with McKay Hillstead, you just kind of take off and run with McKay. But maybe you just do that with Bear Bachmeier because he's got the higher ceiling between the two and maybe the better measurables. But I think, both quarterbacks are tough, gritty competitors, guys that are excellent runners. I think McKay Hills is probably a little bit better runner, but I think Bear Bachmeier's a little more physical. Either way, it's going to take time. I think if you're expecting a top 25 offense for this team, I'd pump the brakes a little bit right there. I wouldn't expect that out of the chute. It's going to take time. It's going to be a work in progress. But you hope that work gets sorted out early on in non-conference, which is relatively light compared to most seasons. But Bear Bachmeier appears to be trending up as QB1 for BYU. Let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get to more Cougar tracks in this new era of the show here on KSL Sports YouTube and KSL News Radio.
When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Galileo Wealth Management, we understand the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, our investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and more. But think about it. What are you trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P? Or is your goal to make memories with your family? Our goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Todd Kim at Galileo Wealth Management today, 801-516-3227. That's 801-516-3227, or go online to GalileoWealth.com. Let Todd Kim and Galileo Wealth Management help you make memories, not just money.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, it's me, Flo, here to tell you that with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, you get 24/7 protection, so you're covered no matter where the day takes you.
Even I added too much water to the pizza dough day?
Yep.
How about getting a call from my daughter to pick her up at the airport because her boyfriend is unreliable day?
Especially that day.
What about finding out that one of my pipes suddenly burst in my basement day?
Progressive has every day covered 24/7 with a Home and Auto Bundle. Also, you have a lot of bad days.
Oh no, that was all the same day.
At least you're covered with Progressive.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Traffic and weather together is brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Again, we've been following the funeral procession for the two fallen officers out of Tremont, and the procession has made its way northbound I-15 to Brigham City. And even though you think it may be late in the drive, no ramp to northbound I-15 in Box Elder County will connect you to the freeway until that procession has concluded its way onto its final destination. So as a result, we do have some leftover busy traffic northbound I-15 in Salt Lake County, in South Salt Lake, and then southbound I-15 between the South Interchange and 90th South. Eric?
And we do have a crash westbound I-80. This is just past the East Canyon exit. They are moving vehicles from the left to the right. So right now, traffic has stopped altogether, but the patches of slowing go back to Lambs Canyon. So coming out of Park City, westbound into the valley, expect a little extra time. Down in Utah County, we still got slowdown. Southbound 15 approaching the American Fork Main Street exit. That's Pioneer Crossing, and it's going to stay slow till you go past Pioneer Crossing. On the northbound side, the slowing starts right around 1600 north, and it'll stay that way till just before 500 east in American Fork. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
Back to school means back to routine, but don't forget about the mess underfoot. Start this school year fresh with Zero-Res carpet and air duct cleaning. Did you know your carpets can trap up to 40 pounds of dust, dirt, and debris each year? Zero-Res uses patented technology to clean with no sticky soaps or harsh chemicals. Just patented ZR water for a deep clean that's safe for kids, pets, and your peace of mind. Your carpets dry fast, stay cleaner longer, and come with a 30-day gotta love it guarantee. Right now, get 3 rooms plus a free hallway for $119 and 15% off air duct cleaning. Schedule today at zerores.com. That's zerores.com. Spelled the same forward or backward. Zerores is the right way to clean. Zerores.com.
Cougar Tracks on KSL News Radio. Look for Mitch Harper tomorrow on YouTube. Cougar Tracks airs every day on the YouTube page for KSL Sports.
Welcome back into Cougar Tracks here on KSL Sports YouTube and KSL News Radio, your legacy home of the Cougars. Right now, it's time for what will be a weekly fixture on Mondays. It's the Cougar Stock Exchange.
The Cougar Stock Exchange. What's trending up and what's trending down? It's the Cougar Stock Exchange.
That's right. It's the Stock Exchange. Getting your analysis, your insight, your intel on what's trending up and trending down with BYU. I got to give, trending up a bonus one. Trey Alexander's finger, cornerback for BYU. He's heading into year 2 with the program. He shared this on X, year 2, 2 weeks. Look at that x-ray from Trey Alexander. That pinky, that's completely gone, man. I got to get the story from Trey on this because that x-ray was nuts. I'm looking at that going, that's in a much better place now than what that x-ray looked like. My goodness, Trey Alexander. I love the energy that he brings to the position, but I just had to give that shout out to Trey Alexander, and that x-ray was just wild seeing that thing out there on X. But trending up, of course, for me, from looking at fall camp with BYU football, as they head into week 4 of practices, you got to start with Bear Bachmeier. Bear Bachmeier is clearly trending up for this BYU football team. He's a smooth operator. He's so mature. And I go back to day 1, too, with Bear Bachmeier and how poised, how collected he looked in the pocket where nothing fazed him. And I thought that was noteworthy how just he didn't get fazed by the speed of college football. Clearly, that preparation that he had at Stanford, going through some spring practices helped him in his prep for BYU. I got to imagine he's still probably learning some nuances to this offense. I know Aaron Roderick has said he's completely up to speed and he's doing just fine, but to expect 2 months and he knows it inside and out and has mastered it, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but can he know it enough to where he's not thinking out on the field? And I think that's going to be huge for Bear Bachmeier, but no doubt he's trending up. One area that's trending down, depth at defensive tackle. I look, Justin Kirkland, Oklahoma State transfer. If you're not familiar with him, 6'3", 345 pounds. He is huge, massive human, and was expected to have, be alongside Keanu Tanavasa in the interior of the defensive line. We haven't seen him go through fall camp yet. And reasonable, I think in a perfect world, here's the timeline for Kirkland. Get him back for Big 12 play, and then have him go through those 9 games in conference. Get him right. Or at the earliest, maybe East Carolina. You got the 2 games at home, then the bye, then get him back. Because after Keanu Tanavasa, who's going to be big time, he's the leader of this defense. And then John Talmoipeu, a.k.a. JT, that's your top 2. After that, there's a little bit of a drop-off. Now, I do think Viliami Puha, he can slide inside, play a little bit of that cowboy front for BYU. He can go inside, maybe Bodie Schoonover as well. Those guys can be utilized in the interior, but you need Kirkland back, and I think that area is trending down a little bit. I will say, too, some young freshmen, Kalepi Latufina, Ulavai Fetuli, have looked good, but are you ready to say they're DT number 3 or 4? You've got Anisi Purcell in there as well, former Southern Utah transfer, but that's a big ask for that group. Trending up, linebackers, they are going to be outstanding this season. That's no surprise, right? Jack Kelly, Isaiah Glasker, say no more. But here's an interesting thing that's developing. Che Bryant Strother, you're seeing him more and more with the Mike linebacker spot at the ones. Now, the Cougar Club practice, he was splitting time with Sialia Serra with the first team defense. So those two, it's 1A, 1B, it looks like, between those two. And it's a heated competition between Che and Sialia Serra, but that position is deep. Ace Kafusi. I've even seen some good things from Max Alford, a Utah State transfer. I love some of the young guns, Tyler Payne, Pearson Watson, big-time talent at the linebacker position. BYU is trending up there. Another spot that's maybe trending down, running back depth, LJ Martin, Sione Moa, fantastic. 1 and 2, great. But the sudden departure of Pokayawa Honga due to personal reasons has left a little bit of questions on the depth. Now, also, Enoch Nawahine, he wasn't suited up at practice on Friday. Now, he was off to the side. He was in his jersey, but we just didn't see him go through the media observation, which was only 15 minutes. But if there is an injury to LJ or Sione, it gets a little thin. I think Giovesa DeMuni, a redshirt freshman out of Ridgeline High School, he's probably the fastest of the group, but that's an area to watch. Another trending up, the coaching staff. It's been an underrated storyline this year, but BYU retained its entire coaching staff and got a long-term extension for Kalani Sitake. And despite all the issues, maybe with some spots at depth that I laid out on the trending downside, some questions at quarterback, they've got a coaching staff that has been through it all. And I think that gives BYU a great advantage when you get into these chess matches in the Big 12 and the coaching staffs can win the day. I think you've got enough of a proof of concept from Kalani and his team that they can out-scheme some folks. That's what this league does, man. The Big 12 has some excellent coaching staffs, and BYU's got one that's rising to the top. And I think Kalani Sitake and his staff have done an excellent job this camp of managing the issues at quarterback and doing it in a way where the program still feels like it's in a good place mentally. There's a lot of camaraderie. The culture of the program still feels like it's in a really good spot as they inch closer to the season opener against Portland State. But that's going to do it for this edition of the new era, the maiden voyage, the new era of Cougar Tracks. I hope all of you enjoyed it. It's been an absolute blast on this first edition of the show here on KSL Sports YouTube and KSL News Radio. We will be back tomorrow on Tuesday with all the latest from fall camp. So keep it locked here to Cougar Tracks and subscribe to the show and go check out the KSL Sports YouTube page. Talk to you tomorrow here on Cougar Tracks.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Any Hour Services can make sure your AC keeps you cool this summer. Whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings, or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Traffic brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. If you're still making your way northbound on I-15, we do have some leftover delays going from the Legacy switch off at Farmington back to Centerville. Even Legacy still seeing some leftover busy traffic northbound Centerville up to the I-15 junction. Further north, a little bit of residual backups from the funeral procession on northbound I-15. This is going from Perry up to the Highway 89-91 junction. But if you're headed northbound on I-215's west belt, all clear and back to good speeds. Eric?
Residual slowdowns. Westbound I-80 crash has been cleared just past the East Canyon exit, but you do have some slowing as you head into the valley. Eric Butler in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
7 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Becky Bruce. KSL's top local story this hour. We're learning more about 2 police officers shot and killed overnight in Tremont.
Sergeant Lee Sorensen received a Distinguished Service Award earlier this year. The city says Sorensen demonstrated unwavering dedication and support to the city's emergency services. They also mentioned that his professionalism and commitment to excellence sets an example for others. On Facebook, the comments are rolling in. One person says they'll never forget Sorensen for going the extra mile for victims of domestic violence. They say he had compassion and wisdom for the people he protected. Officer Eric Estrada is also being remembered. One person called him the nicest officer in the county. Another says Estrada gave their kids stickers just the other night. Both are being highly praised online for their bravery and paying the ultimate sacrifice for their community. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Congressman Blake Moore says today is tragic for the 1st District.
Anytime something really devastating happens in your district, you're completely powerless to do anything about it and to console the folks that do it. You put out a statement, call the mayor, but just as a reminder, the dangers that our law enforcement go through, it's just something to remember, I think, and so it's important to kind of reflect on it.
That was Moore speaking today at a Sutherland Institute congressional series. Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's My Style checking account. Mostly smooth sailing on your major freeways on the Wasatch Front. You got a few minor fender benders, but nothing major in Salt Lake County, Utah County, or on I-80 headed toward Park City or Tooele. The procession for the 2 fallen officers continues at this time toward Tremont, so you'll see some leftover delays, mostly to the north, especially around that Legacy switch off at Farmington to Centerville and again around the Perry area. Tonight's low down to 69, but the heat comes right back tomorrow. 99 for your Tuesday high, possibly a record high of 100. We're looking at 100 degrees on Wednesday as well. Right now, it's 93 degrees. I'm Becky Bruce, KSL News Radio 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything. Especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Let me ask you a question. You have a best friend? How big would it shock you if somebody told you that your best friend just killed somebody?
911, what's your emergency? Someone on the other line said they kidnapped my son and they're demanding $500,000.
On September 12th, 1995, 12-year-old McKay Everett disappeared from his home in Conroe, Texas. It was a crime that shocked the community because the suspect was so unlikely, so unexpected.
Former high-ranking police official, he'd run for sheriff at one point.
Law enforcement personnel were pretty much split down the middle over whether or not he actually did this.
And to this day, McKay's mother, Paulette, still feels that justice was never truly served.
I've asked myself so many times, what in the world happened?
Ransom is available now. Listen at ransompodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Chaleos. Tragedy in the small town of Tremont this morning. 2 police officers killed in the line of duty responding to a call as they work to protect their community.
Tragedies like these rock the entire community, state, and even nation. These officers and their families served their community every day and will forever be remembered as heroes.
The time is 1 o'clock on Monday, August 18th. It's midday. I'm Maria Chaleos. Coming up, the shock neighbors are feeling this afternoon and the support a grieving law enforcement community is getting from across the state today. Also this hour,
we're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on. And I think people of the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced.
President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky meeting today discussing an end to the war with Russia. We'll have a live analysis on the talks and the future of the conflict. We continue to follow this tragedy in Box Elder County where the 2 police officers were killed in the line of duty. A sheriff's deputy and his canine companion shot and wounded. The Tremont and Garland communities in mourning today. Thanks for tuning into Midday. I'm Maria Chaleos. We have special coverage on KSL News Radio. We begin with Eric Cabrera, who joins us live from Tremont in this hour. And Eric, such a heartbreaking story with these 2 officers killed and another officer and a canine in the hospital. Can you start just by setting the scene for us?
Maria, absolutely. I'm standing at 700 North and 200 East here at the corner. Police tape still wraps the entire property. The windows are blown out. There's a trampoline in the front yard. There's tall weeds in the grass and a white pickup truck in the driveway. Neighbors are standing outside quietly on their phones. Some are driving by, watching investigators comb through the property, and detectives are collecting evidence, photographing the damage, and really piecing together everything that happened here last night.
Now walk us through how this unfolded and what led up to the gunfire.
Sure. So police say it started just after 9 p.m. last night with multiple 911 hang-up calls from this address. When Tremont and Garland officers showed up, a man opened fire and ended up killing two of them. Then a Box Elder County deputy and his canine rolled up, but were also shot, and authorities say both survived and are in recovery.
Now, we understand that Chief Chad Reyes spoke this morning. What did he have to say?
Yes, Brigham City Police Chief Chad Reyes spoke on behalf of the Tremont and Garland Police Department. As you can imagine, they're still all processing this loss. And he said, while getting choked up, tragedies like this don't just impact the officers' families, they ripple through entire communities.
Tragedies like these rock the entire community, state, and even nation. These officers and their families served their community every day and will forever be remembered as heroes. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Tremont and Garland Police Department, Box Elder County Sheriff's Office, and the family of those involved. We're grateful for the swift response from multiple agencies from Box Elder, Weber, and Cache counties.
Eric, what do we know about how these officers were able to take the suspect into custody?
So that's where the closeness of this small town played a role. Chief Reyes says that fact actually helped convince the gunman to put down his weapon and surrender.
We've talked a little bit about community and the tight-knit group here. I think those acquaintances and relationships probably played a key role into that, into getting him to put down his weapons and surrender.
Such a heavy moment, Eric. Before we let you go, what's the feeling in that neighborhood right now?
You know, it's very somber, Maria. This is a quiet suburban block, but today, obviously, it's filled with investigators, police tape, and neighbors processing what happened. There was a couple here putting up blue ribbons and American flags on the trees nearby. People here are heartbroken. You can tell 2 officers didn't make it home, and the community is coming to grips with that loss.
That is KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera live in Tremont. Thanks, Eric. The people living near where this shooting happened say that they can't believe what happened last night, and they've never experienced anything like it. KSL News Radio's Adam Small continues our special coverage.
When I found out what was going on, I thought, let's go back to Friday and Saturday and just leave this out of our lives.
Arlene Euler lives right next door to the home where the shooting happened. She says her family built her home 70 years ago and says nothing like this has ever happened here.
That's a high price to pay for doing your job.
A lot of adrenaline right now. I don't know. It's really hard. It's still very much a shock, yeah.
It just doesn't seem real.
And super sad for the families.
Nanette and Chris Gamble live just a couple houses further.
All of a sudden, everything was just shut off. We were not able to go anywhere.
We came outside. Well, first we locked our doors because they were saying on the police scanner, shelter in place. And then we heard him say that the suspect was down and conscious, so we thought, oh, we're good. So we come outside and we're kind of looking, and then we hear the cops yelling, come out with your hands up, and we're like, oh, so we ran back inside because and then we stayed inside for a couple hours until we felt safe coming out. But drones everywhere. Craziest thing was seeing like 50 cops, with their assault rifles, whatever, just running down the street.
One of the nice things is last night all the neighbors were all texting each other, making sure we're all okay and everything. And so, I mean, that's how powerful the network we have here. It's just, we may not be the best of friends, but we're all looking out after each other.
The Gambles say despite how everyone's feeling right now, it's going to be important to rally together and support these officers' families.
I view these individuals as heroes because they kept our neighborhood safe. There's nothing that can be said more than that. I mean, it's horrible, it's sad. That feels empty and hollow, but there are heroes.
In Tremont and Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Former Salt Lake City Police Chief Chris Burbank says that this kind of tragedy is especially hard on small police forces and small communities. He joined Utah's Morning News to talk about some of the thoughts that are probably running through the Tremont and Garland Police Chief's mind today.
There's personal relationships. There's what could have I done better? Should I sent more? Should we known? You second guess yourself, and I've been very fortunate, during my career that I never lost an officer feloniously to someone else. But in a smaller police department, boy, that personal relationship, right? The chief knows these people well, probably lives and participates with them on a regular basis in different things. This is going to be really hard for this community for the next little while.
He says the emotional toll will continue to spread, not just among the police officers themselves, but among the law enforcement community as a whole. And he also thinks it's going to be difficult to process for investigators and prosecutors moving forward.
So difficult that you're going to spend time because there's going to be relationships there as well. And you're investigating officers and you start to think and second guess, should I be in this profession? Look at the risk involved in this profession. Look at the cost of this profession to society. These are all hard things that officers are going to struggle with, that investigators who are going to look firsthand upon the evidence and, photographs and everything else. These are not easy times. And so it is, again, for this community, we need to be supportive and understand that they're going through some difficult times over the next few months.
While all the legal processes play out, Burbank says this is a pivotal time for the community to rally around and support the fallen officers' families, plus the law enforcement officers left behind.
So I think the most important thing, and it's something that I've always been proud to be involved in and to know of and to see firsthand, as communities reach out and make sure that, officers' families have what they need, right? There are going to be children left behind. There are going to be spouses, and to make sure that they're cared for, that they have their needs. What we want to make sure, again, as I said earlier, this represents a failure of our society. Well, now is the chance to demonstrate, no, this society is not going to fail on these families, on this police department, and on the community, right? We need to heal. And not that it's a quick thing and not that it's an easy thing, but it's something that we need to be aware of.
KSL legal analyst and co-host of Inside Sources, Greg Skorda, says in this situation, it's very likely the suspect will face charges of aggravated murder. Right now, he's only booked on suspicion of aggravated murder. If officially charged and convicted, the suspect could face the death penalty.
He's booked in on what we call aggravated murder, which is a crime that carries a death penalty. And under Utah law, there are about 24 circumstances that make a murder into an aggravated murder, which is eligible for the death penalty. One is if the victims are police officers in the performance of their duty. Another is if more than one person is killed. So there are at least two potential aggravating factors if the Weber County attorney, which is handling the case because of potential conflict, decides to make this a capital case.
The case has been given to the Weber County District Attorney's Office.
The law enforcement community is so tight, police and prosecutors. I was in that community for 8 years as a prosecutor. You work with these cops every single day. They're in your office. So that's really hard. But to try to dissuade that as much as possible, the Box Elder County has given the investigation and probably the prosecution to Weber County, just because they're a little more distant from the officers involved. In that community, I would imagine they know the officers by name if you're ever a prosecutor up there.
We will continue to watch for official charges and bring you that information as soon as we get it. Among those left behind in this tragedy are the family members, the ones who will now have to go on without their loved ones due to this senseless killing. One person who's all too familiar with these emotions that these families are going through is Shantae Johnson. Her husband, Draper Police Sergeant Derek Johnson, was killed in the line of duty in 2013 while responding to a car crash. She joined Inside Sources today to explain how the family is probably feeling today and then how they'll feel going forward.
They are devastated. This is just rocking their world. They're going to be in a lot of fog. They are going to be overwhelmed with the support that the community I know is going to provide and going. But yeah, this is just the worst day of their lives.
She spoke about the community response, the outpouring of love and support going on right now.
We all just want to do our part, do a little something, anything we can do to help. And I always try to do that. I try to show up for the families and our departments in any way that I can, just to let them know that they're going to be okay and that they are loved beyond measure and that this is just a hard time and that we'll all be here for each other.
As the spouse of a fallen officer, Johnson says that there's a support system already in place among family of law enforcement officers, and it's that support that is so vital to pressing on with life.
Well, I mean, when you're out there taking these calls every day, knowing that at any moment, you could be met with with tragedy or, something that's going to alter your life, these are the men and women who, have your back, like literally. And so to know that you're leaning on that and that these people are there for you, then it literally is family. So, when something happens like this and we all rally together and we build a fortress around each other and take care of one another and show up, and then we'll be there forever and ever to take care of each other.
Johnson says this is a great example of why it's so important to live each day like it's your last, and why it's so important to remember that the men and women in uniform are simply doing what they can to protect the community.
It's kind of like our health. We take it for granted until it's been jeopardized. We wake up and do the same thing every day. We know it in the back of our minds, but we try not to dwell on it. Otherwise, we probably would never sleep. But, it's nerve-wracking. It is there. It's very real. But, at some point we have to just realize that we trust their training and the officers that have been with them. And then there just is the crap that happens that we just have to deal with. But it's different for everyone else, but it's tough to send them out every day.
This afternoon, a procession will take the fallen officers from the office of the medical examiner in Taylorsville back to Box Elder County. The community is invited to stand along the route beginning at 5:30 at the junction of I-84 and I-15 in Tremonton. Now, the route will carry the fallen officers to funeral homes in Garland and in Logan. We will continue to follow this story throughout the day and bring you any additional updates on air and online at KSLNewsRadio.com. Smoke rising due to a new wildfire burning in the mountains between Provo and Springville. The plume of smoke able to be seen around Utah Valley last night. We'll get an update on that situation after the break.
Some things never change. Sure, we've expanded Inside Sources to 3 hours on KSL, and it's on 9 to noon. But the news, traffic reports, and weather updates that have been a part of your ride in the car since before you can remember, always there. And that will never change. Find us in your car at 102.7 FM.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. Stroke risk may increase. Eliquis can cause serious and potentially fatal bleeding. Don't take if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or bleed longer. A spinal injection increases blood clot risk, which may cause paralysis. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding or bruising, or back pain, tingling, numbness, muscle weakness, or incontinence. Aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Not every victory has fireworks. Sometimes it's a quiet win, like tying your shoes without gasping, walking upstairs without pausing, or being able to sit cross-legged on the floor and play with your kids. That's what soda gave me. I lost 82 pounds in just 16 weeks. And with it went the weight, the aches, the excuses. But what I gained, confidence, energy, time, and a version of myself I thought was long gone. Soda didn't overwhelm me with rules or leave me starving. I ate real food. I learned what my body needed. And the personal nutritionist, game changer. They were there with answers, encouragement, and real solutions. If you're looking for your own quiet win, this is your moment. If it worked for me, it will work for you. Go to SodaWeightLoss.com, click the Request a Nutritionist callback. It's time. You can do it. SodaWeightLoss.com. SOTA, SodaWeightLoss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Everyone needs a checking account, so get the one with built-in benefits to complement your unique lifestyle. Mountain America's MyStyle Checking has perks no one can pass up. You'll enjoy sizzling restaurant deals, peace of mind mobile phone protection, timely telehealth access, built-in identity protection, and clutch loan rate discounts. Make MyStyle your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration or activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
How does a soccer club born in an unlikely place,
Utah,
You sure you want to do that in Utah?
Built with players no one else wanted.
We knew no one believed in us.
Reached the league's highest heights.
We finally did it. It was like just this feeling of getting to the top of the mountain.
Russell has made a champion out of Real Salt Lake.
How does that same team find a way to shatter expectations in the midst of a fight for its own survival?
Our club is burning to the ground as we speak.
I'm Amy Donaldson, and in a new podcast, Making of a Moment, the RSL story, we take a closer look at one of those iconic sports moments.
Soccer is a crazy game, and we saw it firsthand tonight.
And unravel how knowing the truth of these moments can transform what they mean.
I just kind of got chills right now thinking about it.
Making of a Moment, the RSL story, is available now. Follow us at makingamomentpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Chaleos. College football season is just around the corner. KSL News Radio is your legacy home of the BYU Cougars, and tonight we are launching a new daily Cougar Track show to keep you up to speed with all things BYU sports.
Cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun every night, 6:30 p.m., talking BYU sports, obviously football, basketball. We're going to be focused on the teams that are on these airwaves, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Great interviews with players, coaches, and analysis and insight that I don't think you can find anywhere else. So I cannot wait to get this thing started.
KSL Sports BYU insider Mitch Harper will host that show. He joined Utah's Morning News to give a preview, all the things that you can look forward to in his nightly program.
30 minutes every night, so I'll take phone calls reacting to games on Mondays. We'll have great interviews with players, coaches, analysis, analysts, and I'm going to give my insight, intel, background knowledge of what's going on with these BYU sports teams. So it's going to be a lot of fun, 30 minutes every single night. It's just a great way to connect with BYU sports, and every Cougar fan can just connect at a deep, intense level to know everything they need to know about BYU sports this year.
One of the biggest things to watch with BYU football is their selection of a new quarterback. And Mitch says there are a few people leading out in that pack. Regardless of who BYU picks to lead the team, there are drawbacks and risks.
I think that both McKay Hillstead and Bear Bachmeier can win football games for BYU. I think the risk of starting a true freshman is that you have to go all in on him. You don't unseat him, even if there's struggles. And there's going to be probably games where it's a head-scratching performance against someone that you would think BYU should beat. That's the risk of a true freshman. Whereas McKay Hillstead, he's been in the program for a year, very talented, probably the best athlete in the quarterback unit. But you can't deny the talent, the potential of Bear Bachmeier. There's just been moments in camp where you see him and you think, man, if you can get that every single week, those type of throws, that arm, that size, that's pretty exciting. And he's a guy that fits quite well with the type of quarterbacks that Aaron Roderick has had a lot of success with. So I think it can work, but you just got to think that there's going to be some ups and downs when you're starting a true freshman. BYU's only started 8 true freshman quarterbacks in its history. Never has a true freshman started in week 1. So it would be historic if Bear Bachmeier does, in fact, get the nod 12 days from today.
You can hear more tonight beginning at 6:30 on the new nightly Cougar Track show right here on KSL News Radio.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything! The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu!
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
I am not a rich woman, but I feel like a rich woman every time I go in my closet. The best, hands down, present I've ever received was my husband secretly redid my closet with Closets by Design. So now when I go in there, there aren't all these shoes just junked on the floor. They're neatly sitting on their shelves. And my necklaces are hanging on their individual hooks, and earrings are in their little squares in this soft drawer that pulls out. It's just gorgeous. In fact, he saw how much I loved it. He had Closets by Design redo the garage. So now all the stuff, the tools, the toys, the junk is all in cabinets. When you open our garage door, you see cars. That's it. It's amazing. The things that Closets by Design can do, and it's going to save you money right now because you get up to 40% off plus an additional 15% off with 18-month financing. You can do so much with your closet, much more than you realize, with this wonderful Utah company, Closets by Design. Find out more at 1-800-BY-DESIGN or closetsbydesign.com.
Americans may not agree on much, but we agree on Social Security. We all pay in. It ought to be there when we need it. Social Security could face a funding gap in less than a decade, and I don't want to see a pay cut. I'm with AARP in the fight to protect the Social Security we earned.
Pledge to protect Social Security at aarp.org/weearnedit. That's aarp.org/weearnedit. Paid for by AARP.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jeff Kaplan. I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Officer. Today's White House meeting between President Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky regarding Russia's invasion of Ukraine was a stark contrast to the contentious February sit-down between the two. Mr. Trump is eager to create a legacy as a peacemaker, noted ABC News contributor and presidential historian Mark Updegrove.
This was a very different Donald Trump today. Very diplomatic, very conciliatory. One of the things he said that struck me was, we are all working toward the same goal. And there was this great show of unity.
After the meeting, Zelensky said President Trump supported a trilateral meeting among leaders of Ukraine, the U.S., and Russia to be conducted as soon as possible. Air Canada's flight attendant union has resumed negotiations with the help of a mediator this evening. At this time, Air Canada's flight attendants are still on strike despite being ordered back to work. The airline now estimates 500,000 customers will be disrupted as a result. This is ABC News.
You were listening to a replay of an earlier episode of Midday with Maria Shilaos. You are listening to Midday. I'm Maria Shilaos. Right now, a major meeting at the White House between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky. European leaders also in attendance. The discussion centering around the Ukrainian-Russian war and what it would take to secure a peace deal and end the war. It follows Friday's summit in Alaska between President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump today.
We're going to have a lasting peace. I hope it's going to be immediately. I hope it doesn't have to go on, and I think people of the whole world is going to be very happy when that's announced.
Joining me now to provide some insights into these talks is Megan Reese, non-resident senior fellow at the Scowcroft Center for Strategy and Security and the founder and CEO of Solid Intel. Megan, what do you make of these recent meetings, the one on Friday and today's?
So these meetings are honestly not terribly surprising. Trump's been wanting to push for some sort of peace deal since before he was reelected as president. And what we saw was a really, really strong push by Putin to get even more